Alright, so what are the top sales mistakes I've seen throughout my years of training and how can we avoid them? We'll get right into it. So number one, lack of ongoing training and development. Yes, it's sad to say it, most companies today do not provide adequate modern day training. I saw this with many of the companies I've worked for over the years. It's usually just some company-made script that's been passed down for years, and we all assume it's going to produce the same success that it did 10 years ago. One thing to understand is that today's buyer has changed. So the old ways of pressuring your prospect into buying your product or service are long gone. Buyers today across any industry are more cautious than they've ever been. So if you don't put in the time to adequately train and develop your skill set, the results you're looking for probably won't happen. Most of the sales structures I've come across are still relying on old, outdated sales tactics. So some of these include buy now, sale ends today, even though we all know it doesn't, or we only have 2 spots remaining when the offer is unlimited, asking the buyer yes or no questions only, dominating the sales conversation, or anything else that's not being 100% upfront and honest with the prospect. Buyers can tell almost instantly when someone isn't being honest with them, which in turn will only hurt your chances of actually closing the sale. My point here is up-to-date training and development will help keep you from reverting back to old ways of thinking and also allow you to close more genuine sales. Number 2, not understanding and addressing the prospect's needs. One of the biggest challenges sales reps face today is truly understanding and addressing the needs of their prospects. This often stems from poor communication skills, which can then lead to a breakdown in the overall sales process. Some sales reps even jump straight into their pitch without taking the time to see if their product or service is even a good fit for the prospect. So when reps fail to actively listen, they of course miss out on key insights and cues that could help tailor their pitch. Active listening involves not just hearing the words, but also understanding the underlying concerns and motivations of the prospect. It's all about asking the right questions and paying attention to those answers. Remember, it's not just about selling a product, it's about solving a problem. If you're thinking about it the other way around, it's probably going to make that call feel more transactional rather than relational. So keep in mind, building genuine rapport is crucial. You always want to make sure you're showing genuine interest in the prospect's needs. I think you'll find that people buy from those they trust and like, so make sure you take some time to actually establish a relationship. Now, I'm not saying you have to talk about the weather. I'm not saying you have to talk about Luka's performance on defense in the NBA Finals. You don't have to talk about any of that. But a good rapport will help in understanding the prospect's needs better and creates a foundation of trust for both you and them. So when it comes to understanding the client's needs, objections are going to be a key point. I actually see a lot of reps not handling objections correctly. They dismiss or ignore objections instead of actually addressing them head on, which can of course be detrimental for your sales success. If you think about it a little bit more, objections are actually just opportunities in disguise. So they give you a chance to understand the prospect's concerns and provide solutions when addressed properly. So for example, if a prospect raises a concern about the cost, it's an opportunity to highlight the value and return on investment your product offers. Objections are also usually caused because reps fail to answer key questions the prospects had along the way. So as a result, reps are often stuck with buyers who aren't confident the product or service will even get them the results that they need. So addressing objections promptly and thoroughly will also reassure the prospect that you actually understand their concerns and are committed to providing a solution. One last thing I wanted to talk about on this point is just focusing on the problem your product solves rather than the product itself. So anyone you talk to probably isn't going to care much about the bells and whistles of your product. They're going to care more about how it'll actually solve their specific problems. So shift the focus of your pitch from the features to the benefits and outcomes that matter to the prospect. So to give you an example of that, instead of saying our software has X, Y, and Z features, say our software can help you save time and reduce costs by automating X, Y, and Z tasks. Number 3, they don't have a strong tonality and intro. I see this so many times with reps that are just starting out, and sadly to say with reps that have actually been in their role for quite a while. Having the right tone and a strong intro is absolutely crucial when it comes to cold calling, and really even sales in general. So without having the right tone and a strong intro, you're going to have a hard time getting past the first 30 seconds of the call. So in order to grab the attention of a complete stranger, you have to have a good opening intro and your tone has to match that. So I get asked this all of the time. What is the proper tone to use for a warm or cold call? Which the answer is actually pretty simple. Use your normal tone. The same tone you use to talk to a close friend or relative is the exact same tone you should use on all of your calls. The idea is to be as genuine as possible. So why would you ever fake a tone of voice? Put yourself in your prospect's shoes for just a moment. How would you feel if a stranger called you and had an over-the-top, super energetic tone? Naturally, your first instinct is to think, it's just some sales guy trying to get me to buy something. Or maybe you'd think, this person sounds fake right off the bat. So don't be that person. I've even had some reps try and copy the tone of someone they've listened to be more like them. And I also tried this experiment on my own for a week. What I found was it definitely hurt me more than it actually helped me. Prospects could tell almost instantly that there was something off about the call. So my main point here is drop any tones that aren't actually natural to you. I've seen a lot of content out there where some sales gurus will say you have to master, 5 or 6 different tones in order to become really good at sales. And while yes, putting inflection on certain parts of a question can get you a better result, you don't have to master 5 or 6 different tones in order to just communicate effectively. So simply put, just be yourself. This will be one of the best things you can do to actually start closing more sales. Now, in regards to the intro, I'm going to give you the exact intro I use on all of my cold calls. So keep in mind that I prospected all of my own leads, meaning I did research to find leads that best suited my offer that I was selling. So for example, that could have been brand new businesses that had just created a website, or just businesses in general that statistically had more of a need for my specific offer. So with that said, here's the exact intro I've used on over 80,000 cold calls that is tried and proven to get better engagement. Here it is. Hi, I was looking for John with XYZ Company. Hi, John. This is 𝗙𝗵𝗂𝗂𝗖𝗂 with ABC Leads, and I saw your company listed here on the state website. Do you all do residential work around Orange County? Okay, great. Because we had some work coming through and wanted to see if you all were available either like this week or next week to set up an estimate with a few homeowners. And are you at all familiar with our company, ABC Leads, or have you ever heard of us in the past before? Okay, no worries. I was gonna say, if you haven't, I can give you a quick rundown of how we operate, and then you can let me know if it's something that'd be a good fit. Would that be all right? You might be surprised at just how simple that actually is. I'm not asking them if they have 30 seconds. I'm not asking them how their day is going. I'm just honest and upfront with them, and I get right to the point. Which, if you're a business owner and you don't have a lot of time on your hands to begin with, why wouldn't you appreciate someone getting straight to the point? Number 4, poor time management and effort. Sales is all about doing the most with the time that you have. So why would you decide to spend time on tasks that aren't actually making you any money? Some examples of this would be calling people 6 or 7 times that haven't answered your follow-up calls or texts, when you could be calling new businesses that have more of a need for your product. The goal with anything is to figure out what activities during your day make you the most money. So as an example, for me, my daily routine consisted of about 50 to 120 dials per day. Most of those dials were spent reaching out to new prospects and people that I knew had a need for my product or service. I would actually block out most of my day calling as many new leads as I possibly could, and then from there, after I had done that, I would spend time going through my follow-ups once I've reached my goal of new prospects for the day. So out of those calls, I would average anywhere from 10 to 15 conversations with qualified prospects. From those prospects, I would get to ask for payment about 3 to 6 times per day, and I would maintain an average of 30 to 40% closing ratio for all of the prospects and calls I would ask for payment on. Keep in mind, this didn't include any additional follow-ups I would have during that day. So, point being, if there's anything distracting you from focusing on the high priority tasks throughout your day, remove them as best you can. And of course, there's always going to be things that come up in life, so focus on the things you can actually control. Those being how you use your time and the effort you put into your work each day. Any position you have in sales, you might as well look at it as your own business. If you don't make sales, you can't achieve your goals. So with that said, obviously more effort in turn will equal more sales with the right direction. And number 5, lack of confidence in the sales script and process. Think about it. If you were speaking with someone about possibly investing in their service or product, but you as the buyer didn't feel like the sales rep was confident in their own product, would you buy it from them? Probably wouldn't. Confidence is key in sales. If you're not confident in what you're selling, your prospects will sense it and it'll make them hesitant to move forward. Confidence in your product or service reassures the buyer that they are making the right decision. You have to keep in mind there are so many different thoughts buyers have going through their heads whenever you're on a sales call with them. They might be wondering if your product really works, if it's actually worth the investment, or if they can even trust you. So the key here is to guide them in the right direction with confidence. You need to make sure they understand exactly how your product will get them the results they need. Of course, if you don't have a clear script or structure that helps highlight the problems they have and the solution you can give to them, it's going to be hard for you to actually get the results that you want. So a well-structured script not only helps you stay on track, but also ensures you cover all the important points. It guides the conversation, making sure you address the prospect's pain points and demonstrate how your product can solve them. In the next video, I'll walk you through the exact structure I've used for all of my sales scripts over the years. This structure provides a clear path for your prospects, addressing their concerns, highlighting the benefits of your product, and ultimately leading them to a confident decision to buy.